Thanks for watching Noob Tutorials. Today we are going to discuss about Python files. Files, like any other languages, it's mainly about opening the files for three main purposes: either to do an input, output, or movement within the file. Input is mainly about the read, output is about the write, movement is to know the position of the cursor, where it is, or to move the position of the cursor. So with that said, let's start with the basic command. So I'm trying to open a given file. I will try to open this file. Before opening it, Python will likely give me an error for this one, because we haven't given an R before the path. There is a invisible octal characters before all the files, and Python thinks that it's dealing with the octal characters and it will give me an error. As I stated, there is an error here, so let's try to put an R here. So as you see, now the file was opened. This is the file handler, and it opened with a default mode of R, which meant by read. We can open file for read, write, or append as this parameter. For now I am not providing any parameter, which means read. So generally you don't open this way, but you assign it to a variable. Now I assign the file handler to a variable called file. Now I opened it. Once I open it, the obvious thing we do is read a file to know its contents. So I said file.read. What does read do? Read completely reads the file and loads it into a memory, and right now it's stored in the variable called R. Now I say print R to see what was in the file. This is what is in the file. As soon as you are done with the operation, you have to close the file. Otherwise, the handle to the file will still be open. Python has internal garbage collection where the handles which were not used will be removed, but it's not a good idea to leave for the internal garbage collection. You have to explicitly close it. So this completes the basic file opening. I'm clearing my screen now. So read completely reads a given file. So if we have a file with thousands of lines, that is not going to work. Reason being, you have to load the complete file into memory, which is a hog, memory hog. So this is what I will be doing, using read lines, which means it loads one line at a time. So here, unlike the previous thing, I am loading one line at a time from the file and writing it to a screen. To confirm it is one line at a time, I'm printing a dummy line in between. As you can see, it printed the first line, then I said I am done with my line, the second line, and it said I am done with my line. So as you can see, after each line the dummy line is getting printed rather than printing all the file and then printing this one. So you can clearly see that it is reading line by line here rather than full line at a time. Whenever you have bigger files, the read lines is a better option to go with. Now don't forget to close the file. System. So you have to remember to close the file after all the operation, which might not be a good thing. If you forget, the file handlers will be still hanging around there. So the better option, which we will go through now, is using a with operation. With operation will ensure even if you forget to close the file, it automatically closes the file as soon as your operation is done. So I'm opening the file as FP. Now the same thing as I have done before, just that I'm doing the with operation. Nothing different from above. As you can see, it did the same thing, but I don't have to specifically close it. How can we be sure that the file has been already closed? Let's try to see it. fp.read. As you can see, it says IO operation on a closed file. So you can confirm that file is already closed. So let's try to take let's try to write to a file now, considering we have completed the read part of it. I'm using append instead of write. Write will clear the file up and then start over. Append rather will leave the contents there and then you can write to it. So I open the file in append mode. I wanted to give the user ability to provide input which I will be writing to the file, the salary.txt file. But in order to do that, I need to do a while loop to make sure user will provide the content until he is satisfied. As soon as he decides that he doesn't want to give any more content, we will exit out of that loop. So in order for doing that, I have defined a variable called done, which is a boolean, which will help the user to decide whether to still provide inputs to add to the file or close it. Please add your inputs use dot to terminate inputs. So if r equal to dot, whenever user provides me a dot, that means the user is not giving any more inputs into the file. Then I am doing done. Done is equal to 1. Whenever done is equal to 1, we'll get out of this loop because it's not 0 anymore. So whatever input was provided in the while loop, I will write it to a file here. So whenever you write data to the file, make sure it's not implicit for the carriage returns to be included. This is where you need to provide the carriage return. For Windows you have to give /n/r. For Unix you can just go with /n. So now it started. So I'm saying I am very good at programming. So I am very happy today. So I decided to terminate now, so I put the dot, so it terminated. So let's see whatever we have written got written to the file. The simpler way to do it is reopen the file, which I did. Now I will say fpd.read. I will read it to a variable. Then I will say print that whatever is read. My bad, I did a here. So let's make sure we keep it as read. Now read operation, I can remove it so it's defaulted to read, but for now I kept it as read specifically. I'm reading it, then I'm printing it. As you can see, the 3 lines which you have in the file already existed. Then I appended. I am very good at programming. I am very happy today. But one mistake that was done is, before starting to write any line, I should have used this carriage return, which would have given this line over here, so that all the lines would have been aligned well. So this is about writing to a file. Now we wanted to only pull certain file types from a given directory using Python. So how would you do it? Python gives, as we discussed, Python gives an option to navigate the file structure with OS and OS path libraries. So I'm importing both of them. So first I wanted to see what is in a given path. So I wanted to see what is in the C path. So I need to loop through all the directories within the C path. How do I do that? This is how we do it. So I am going through the list directory of the C, and for each of the list within the directory, I do the normal case and store it in the file list. Now I can print the file list. So these are the directories or files within the C directory. So file list is a list containing these all items within it. So I don't want to take all this list, but I only want, if that file ends with .txt, I'm only interested in that. So I need to loop through this file list which we have, and then check, while looping through the list, we need to check if a given file has this extension. Then we print out another list. So the new list is, let's say, new file list is equal to os.path.join. We don't have a directory, so I will do C colon. We are hard coding this one for now. For f in file list, okay, let me try it again. New file list is equal to os.path.join colon f in file list if os.path.split f1 in .txt. So let me explain before we move forward. As you see here, you have a for loop, and within the for loop I have collected all the directories or the files within that C directory. I looped through them and I made it into normal case. This is nothing but I'm making them into normal case, and it is stored in the file list. Once it's stored in file list, I just showing purpose, I have done the print of the file list. I don't really need to do it. But once I have the file list, now I want to pick only the few things which have .txt extension. So I now have to loop through this file list, which I'm doing here for f in file list. Once I do that, it goes item by item within the list. Within each item, once I pick it, I need to split it into two parts, and the second part I am validating that it is txt. If it is txt, then only I will join with the directory, the file, and it will get stored in the new list. So let me print the new list. As you see, everything which has .txt got printed out. Hi, now that we have seen about the files, different mechanisms, wanted to go through Pickle. The Python Pickles help make sure if you have any variables, complex or simple, you can store them in a format which is native. So when you read it back, you will get the same format. So let's take an example so you can see it better. So I'm importing a pickle here, and I'm taking a dictionary here with the key value pairs, two key value pairs, favorite color. Then let's say if I'm going to write it to a file, the same dictionary, I would have said favorite color line, which is yellow, I would have written. Similarly, favorite color kitty, I would have written red. So those are nothing but simple values of string values written to the file. When you try to read it back from the file, you have to reconstruct it like dictionary. So that's where Python Pickles help us, where you can write the exact dictionary as is and you can recover it. Dictionary is just an example. You can really write a list to a pickle, you can write a tuple to a pickle, you can write anything and store in a pickle, and you can retrieve it back. So here the favorite color dictionary is dumped using the pickle. The pickle is nothing but this dictionary is then written to a file. As you see, open the file with the right. That file, once you do pickle, the exact format is maintained. The data type format is maintained in the file. Okay. So I was doing a variable initialization. The variable doesn't have favorite, doesn't have anything as of now. So now what I have, whatever I have written to pickle, I am opening and writing it to a new variable. So when I print that new variable, I can see the exact dictionary came back without any kind of manipulations, reading from the file. So that's the importance of Pickles. So Pickles getting completed. Let's touch on regular expressions. So as you know, as any other languages, regular expressions are no different within Python as well. It's, I will hit mainly on the character classes to start with. So probably, I don't want to go in depth of regular expressions. It's not a complete Python thing. Regular expressions are what you see or what you utilize in Unix. The same thing is used here. It's not Python specific. So with that said, just wanted to cover high-level basics. The quantifiers we have, the question mark is one quantifier, the star is a quantifier, and you have plus is a quantifier. So when you put a question mark or a star or a plus, each has its own meaning. So when you put a question mark, the whatever character before it, the regular expression expects the before character to be repeating either 0 times or 1 time. Similarly, star means the character before the star can be repeated 0 to multiple times. Plus means it's either 1 or more. So with that said, apart from the quantifiers, we have a few more things. The square braces is a character class where whatever characters you enclose within the square braces, it will match any one of the character within the square braces with our pattern. Similarly, there is a regular braces. Whatever characters was put into these regular braces is matched exactly in sequence with the pattern. The difference between square braces and the regular braces, square braces match any of the one character enclosed within square braces, whereas the regular braces try to match the complete sequence of characters within it with the pattern. So with that said, let me start with I'm trying to put a regular expression here. Again, I'll explain this one in a few minutes. Okay, what I'm doing here, okay, I missed the code here. Okay, what I did here, are specifically used so that whenever you have a backslash, which is like the escape character, so if you don't have R, if you want to match a backslash, you have to do 2 backslashes to show that it's not an escape character, but rather you wanted a literal backslash. You have to escape it twice to show it's really a literal backslash. So R avoids it. It won't tell that it's an escape sequence, rather it will justify just having 1 backslash. So with that said, the next is HUR is regular ones, then the square braces, as I intimated, it will match any one of these characters within the pattern. It will match either a, small b, or capital A, capital B. Any one character it will match, but you have put a question mark. The question mark indicates that either the character can exist, either 0 instances of this can exist, or 1 instance can exist. You can't have 2 instances of these. Similarly, 0 to 9 means any one of these digits from 0 to 9 can be used, can exist in the pattern. But again, we said question mark, which means either a number can exist or might not exist. So let's try to see this pattern which is matching with actual this one, HUR. Considering the match, HUR matches this. This is optional because it's a question mark. This is optional, so this will match. So it says match is found. So let's try to do one more object here, or a couple of more objects. So I'm saying let's pick one more matching object. This will match as well. So as you see, HUR, then within this square braces A matched, within this digits 0 matched. Similarly, let's pick one thing which doesn't match. So here HUR matched, within this one character A matched. We are saying at 0 or 1 character, at most 1 character can exist. So the next one is expecting a 0 digits or at least 1 digit. But here we have one more alphabet. Let's see if it matches here. It matched here as well. The reason HURA, it matched until here. This can exist or doesn't exist, so it's not an issue. Let's see this one. So again it matched. So let's try to the reason it matched, and let me explain. Sorry, I forgot this one. So HUR matches. This can exist or doesn't exist. So you don't. It's not required that the character exists. Then this can exist or not exist. We have 0, so it matched that. So with that said, let's try to change this one. I'm expecting this to be required here. So now I try to match. This won't match, as you see, because it's trying at least one character. It's not 0 or 1 character because it's plus. At least 1 character has to exist. It doesn't exist after R, so that's a problem. This will match because until this it matches. HUR is 0. Then these are additional characters anyway, so the match came up. So that's mostly about regular expressions, but wanted to share a few more things. Whenever you want digits, you can use these ranges, but rather you have shortcuts as well. /D for digit. Similarly, you want alpha /word, anything related with word. Let's say you decide that you want spaces, which would be /s, and similarly you decide that you don't want any of the word to be matched. You keep capital W. You don't want similarly any non-space character. You go with this. Any non-digit will be used /D. So it's mainly small w for any alpha, small d for any /D, small for digit, /s for space, and making it caps will reverse it. /S means non-space character, /W means non-alpha, /D means non-digit. that wraps our tutorial for now. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching more tutorials.